Good morning, everyone. You are watching the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show. This is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Women's Institute of Self Development and Efficacy, WISE for short. We help women become unshakable, faith filled, and purpose driven through conferences, retreats, networking events. We have a sub running community called Fat Girls Run, where we encourage women to get healthy. We really help women holistically to get to the next level in their life. I am also a real estate investor, so I'm definitely in that world as well. And I work for National Reinvest, so I'm super excited to, just start looking into that area as well. So that's who I am. Oh, and I'm a mom of three little girls, or three beautiful girls. So that is me. I will pass it to my co-host.
Good morning, Wise community. My name is Kimberly Montesinos. I'm the mom of two adorable adult children. I own Crystal Clear Cleaning. I've had that in January of 2024. It'll be 20 years, you
Oh,
guys.
wow.
Yes.
Congratulations, Kim.
Thank you. Thank you. And I am a marketing executive for a online shopping company called Bella Luca, which helps you change your home into non-toxic products. And I've recently received my coaching certification as well. So that's me. I say that this is my cup of coffee being on the morning chat on Monday mornings. So I'll pass it to Leonor this morning, our wonderful guest. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you both. It's an honor to be here with you, ladies. I admire you both, and I was pleasantly surprised yesterday when I was on my way to an event to get the call. So thank you for thinking of me. Well, what can I tell you about me? I've been in the finance industry now for a long time, about 30 years or so. I'm a mother of two and a very, very proud grandmother of four kids. I was just sharing with Jen that my oldest granddaughter is going to be 18. Pretty soon we're going to have a college student, and I cannot believe that. I'm like, wait a minute, where did time go? So, and more recently, I've been spending my time doing financial coaching, which is what I do day in and day out, working with families, with the community, doing workshops for different audiences. And I just love helping people and sharing information where they can actually just become more financially savvy and make better decisions in their lives.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, Leonor. And I see people are watching, so let's make sure we say good morning to the viewers. Remember, this is an interactive show, so feel free to engage, conversate, chime in. Angel, she said, good morning, ladies. Angel, she's a good member of our community. We also have Todd. Todd is a member of my real estate community. So, Todd, why is it not showing? And maybe because it's he put good day, but it's probably because it's a emoji, so maybe it's not letting me show it. So good morning, Todd. So if you're watching, chime in, because we're gonna have a conversation today. And I think what was great, which I thought about with Leonor, was legacy, right? And right away the conversation offline was about family and your grandchildren, and we gotta do what we gotta do, right? But before we go all into that, let's go into the segment of our show, which is why we do this show. It's called Coffee Time, right? So
Mhm.
so Kim, are you drinking some coffee this morning, or what are you drinking this morning?
Okay, I am treating myself. I was on this binge with my oat milk coffee, but it's seasonal, ladies. So I broke down and I have real coffee, not Bustelo, but real coffee, almost as close to Bustelo as possible. And I have white chocolate, raspberry white chocolate creamer
Mm,
this morning. And I am sipping it slow because if it
mm.
just tastes so good. So that's what I'm drinking. I'm cheating, Jennifer. I'm cheating.
It's okay. You can always have a cheat day. That's not a bad thing.
That's
Just
such a wonderful treat. Oh my goodness, I'm listening and I'm like, oh, I want to savor that. So good.
Yeah, I
right.
am savoring it. It's so good.
Mm,
Yeah. How about you, Leonor? What are you drinking this morning?
You know what? I am like, this is, I'm sure, just psychological, but I just don't function without coffee. And of course, this morning I have a special cup. Reminds me that I should trust in the Lord with all of my heart.
Oh,
Oh,
And
I
that's
love
nice.
it.
Yes, I love that.
so
Yeah.
a while back, I was drinking coffee with a lot of cream, and of course, I don't know how many stevias or sweeteners or sugar, and oh, it was so good. But then slowly, I'm starting to cut down on sugar. So now I just drink it black, and it's delicious. It's just my Starbucks, but I do it here at home. I don't pay $4 for my coffee.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Me too. I got
yeah.
my coffee maker here.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was just having a conversation with someone. You do not, and everyone that's chiming in, if you're drinking coffee, grab your cup of coffee, let us know what you're drinking. But I, I'm a true believer that true coffee, you will know good coffee if you drink it black.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you drink coffee and it like you can tell when it's bitter, when you can tell when there's too much, you can
Oh yes.
so I think I enjoy black coffee. So actually I've been doing mushroom coffee for the longest because you guys know I've been trying to do this whole anti-inflammatory
Yeah.
thing with the coffee. Um, I have my Latinas on the Plaza Cup, who she actually was one of my first coaches. I was in her coaching program when I was in my 29, 30 years old. So like 7 years ago. Um, and yeah, here's her logo. So I wanted to rep
Very nice.
Latinas on the Plaza
I
from
love that.
Luz Canino Baker. I've been in so many different coaching programs. That was one of the coaching programs I took a while back, and it's a great program. Um, and I'm drinking coffee. I'm drinking real coffee today, you guys. Like I'm drinking real coffee and
You're allowed.
real.
You're all right. You've been good. You've
I,
been good, Jennifer.
I I've been struggling. Like I've been struggling. Like I noticed that when I don't, because I'm the person that can drink 2 to 3, 4 cups of coffee a day sometimes, right? Depending on how I'm feeling, and I will be like more energized. But I definitely, without it, I could feel like the low energy. So I'm like, oh my god! Like I try to take Celsius at work. I try to but sometimes my body's just tired. So I'm like, I need more sleep. I need more vitamins. I need so.
Mhm.
So today I was like, I left my mushroom coffee at work at the office actually. So I was like, I only have real coffee here at home. So
You
I
will
have
have to do, right?
I'll have to do so. But yeah, no, this is I always think you can tell a person's personality too by the way they drink their coffee. So I see more people jumping on. Jaya, sweet woman. I love her. We just hung out over the weekend. She put good morning, ladies. Um, we have, and she's a real estate investor. She just closed on she's closing on 2 properties. So congrats to her. Lilia Herrera, good morning. Another real estate investor. So good morning, Lilia. We have also May. Good morning, May. How are you?
Hi,
Um,
Mayra. Just want to shout out to Mayra. She's a good friend, and I love her to death. She's beautiful inside and out. Thank you for joining us, Mayra.
oh, nice, nice. So good morning, Maida. Let us know what you're drinking this morning. And then, of course, we have a Facebook user. God morning, beautiful ladies. If you're chiming in from the private Facebook group, remember to let us know because it doesn't show the name of who you are. So, oh, and she put Maida. She wrote good. Thank you, love you. So,
Back.
thank you. So today, I know we thought a lot of people might not be on the show, but we have good numbers, a good number of viewers watching right now because of the holiday. Maybe they are home and maybe they're drinking coffee and now they can watch the
Oh,
show,
Sue. Hey,
right?
shout out to Sue Vasquez. Thank you, Sue, for joining us. Love you.
Oh, hell, Sue is amazing. Sue's been in the
And
community for a
Lilia.
long
Lilia
time.
is also on. Good morning,
Yes.
Lilia. Yes.
Yes, I said good morning. I showed her comment. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we have a good number of people viewing. So we're going to go straight into legacy, right? And conversating because one of the things that like I was sharing earlier was when I thought about Leonor and I was thinking of like the type of conversation we could have with her, I thought about, well, she is a bombshell, right? I know her story. She had to do it on her own, right? You were, remind me, I might get the stories mixed up, but you were a single mom, right? And you had to, um, at some point, you had to raise your kids on your own and
Yes.
and do what you got to do, right? I don't know if you want to chime into all of that.
Of course, yes. So even though I was married, I felt like I was doing it alone because sometimes when you're with a partner that's not very compatible, not very I don't want to say the wrong word, but
Supportive.
supportive, that's the word that I
Sure.
was looking for. You do feel like you're a single mom because you're the one, even though you have a full-time job, you're the one that has to make arrangements with your schedule so that you can come home, take the kids to games and doctor's appointments and stay up with shots and I mean you name it, anything and everything, right? So it did feel like I was doing it on my own, and of course, that relationship didn't work out. So for the longest time, I did raise my kids by myself too, and it's hard. It's hard when you're trying to do everything, when you're trying to make a name for yourself professionally, because that's the other full-time job, right? Not just raising kids, but making a name in the community, at workplace, making an impact, just pushing through barriers and making it happen. And we were talking about the fact that we are just plowing through and don't think about the how we're doing it. We just know that we have to do it,
Yes.
and it just it gets done. I
Oh
think
my
back to
goodness. Yes.
yeah, I think back to a few years ago. Actually, I was just gonna also mention that about, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I also met Luz Carino Baker at ACE. She was with Mujeres de ACE. And back then, I was, on a roll to make things happen at the organization that I had just joined. And
Mm.
I did, but it was, with a few sleepless nights and just a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, there is a lot of sacrifice that comes with it. Do you guys watch Shark Tank? Does anyone watch Shark Tank?
I have.
I
Right?
used to, yeah.
The Mr. Wonderful. Mr. Wonderful. I love Mr. Wonderful. I really do. He's like
Uh-huh.
the most brutal one up there, but he's probably my favorite.
Mhm.
Um, he says, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy mom.
Mm,
Wow.
So he was always big. I haven't watched it in a while, but he was always big on investing in moms. Like he had a soft spot for the single mom, or he had a soft spot for like the mama entrepreneur, you could tell. Um, but he would say that, you have a task to do. So now everyone that's watching, your entrepreneur, hire moms. Hire,
right.
work with moms, because we logistically, our brain functions in a way that we can handle. And I know, Kim, right?
I was going to say something when you're done,
Yeah,
honestly.
for sure. Doctor's appointments. You are a bus driver or chauffeur. I mean, I commute 2 hours before I get into work. Sometimes, maybe I'm exaggerating, but like for a good chunk of time in the morning
Yeah.
after I get ready, I'm dropping one off, come back, drop the other one off, come back. It's just constant, right? Like, so logistically, we have to manage a lot of things, and we're thinking of 20 things at one time, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, we can do it all. We can.
Absolutely.
There were two things I wanted to chime in on. One was it was nice to hear you say, Leonore. People always think when you say you're a single mom, you said you were a single mom married.
Yeah,
I
I
was a
was.
single I
Mhm.
was a single mom married. That's why I'm not married anymore. But I didn't it took me a long time to get there because what I thought being Wonder Woman made me a better person, which actually wore me out. Right. And I had to go through that to understand. So thank you for sharing that, because
Mhm.
you can be a single mom married. Because when you're doing everything, or you're doing the majority of everything, and you're not getting that support financially, emotionally, spiritually, boy, is it draining.
Yeah,
But
it is.
going to the mom thing, do you know, right after COVID, people were struggling, and me too, and I still do. I still struggle. My biggest struggle in the cleaning business is hiring. And there was
Mm,
a company, I can't remember if it was a cleaning company or what type of company just gentleman had, but it was a man.
mm,
And what he did, what his one strategy that he changed, he hired moms.
mm,
His company tripled, and he's flexible with the mom. So he has a lot of part-time moms. So they work a 9 to 2, or uh, a 3 to 9, or whatever the schedule is. But 90% of his workforce is moms. And he said they're productive. They don't call off. It's really funny. We're talking about this because when I read it, I'm like, wow. I mean, most of the ladies that work for me are moms, But
That's
it was
beautiful.
just interesting that we brought that theme up, that we are, that because we do so many things innately, we sometimes take it for granted that it is a skill,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
right? And this gentleman blew his business up by just hiring moms.
Interesting.
Wow, that is really
Hmm.
interesting, right?
It is.
Yeah, that's very amazing. Yeah.
Let me show these comments here because I see people chiming in as we're talking. I want to make sure I show. So Lilia, she's in Denver today. I know her and her sister Jeanette are out
Yeah.
there and family. So awesome. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. We have good morning from Elizabeth. Awesome. Good morning, Elizabeth Benjury. We also have Ariel, who's part of my real estate investment community. Good morning, Ariel. We have May. She said, "Thank you for being here today. It is a pleasure to start this morning with you, beautiful ladies. Thank you, Senora Leonor. You are my big example, inspire me. Thank you, ladies. So awesome. You're an inspiration. Leonor is an inspiration.
She is.
Thank you.
Um, we have a couple Facebook users said, Good morning, guys. Make sure you guys write your name." Uh, then we have this is Sue, and I understand that non-supportive role for sure, Leonor. I believe it made me stronger, and same for you and all ladies going through this. Amen. That's
Hmm.
awesome. We have blessed morning, and then I think this is Delilah that said good morning. So good morning, Delilah. Actually, I just saw her 2 days ago. I was just at her shop and I swung by and said hi. So you know, when we're talking about the supportive, it's funny because if for those that know or don't know, I'm going through the whole divorce thing and been separated for 2 years, right? Um, I get more support now than before, and it's like an interesting dynamic where it's like, oh, now you got to step up and now you have to be involved, right? Because I think, and I can only speak for the Latino community, right? Usually, at least in the Latino community, I don't know about other communities, it's like the woman takes on
Oh.
everything, right?
Hmm.
And I'm assuming maybe even all communities are like that. And someone correct me if you're from a different community that's non-Latino, but you would assume the woman takes over everything, household, children, logistics, right? So there's a lot on mom's shoulders in general, whether you're single or married. So it's like you're married, non-supportive partner, you're dealing with that pain, right? You're
Hmm.
dealing with that struggle. You're single and you're a single mom. Now you're dealing with the struggle of like just being a single mom in general, because it is a little tougher for single moms out there, right? Especially if they don't
Oh.
have, the father's not involved in any way, shape, or form, right? That's a struggle too.
Mm.
Um, so it's like, which one do you pick? which poison are you going to drink from? Do you want to be, in this marriage, or you want to be single? Like, which poison? I don't know. I'm just
I
talking.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of times it's that compatibility piece, and I do know, being of a mixed background and having tias and stuff growing up that were from Latin community. I know in the Latin community, my children are half Mexican, so my sister-in-laws, they were very, very subservient, and with no disrespect, but with that came that they had to do what they had to keep the house clean, take care of the kids, feed them, run to the school. So I was competing with that, and then having a business and
Mm,
bringing home the bacon. So that's what wore me out, because I couldn't compete with that, and nor should we,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it's more of, when you marry somebody, not necessarily is it culturally or racially, but is it compatibility? Like, are you on the same page of where you want to be in your life and how you want to raise your kids? I don't think we really ask those questions. I think we get caught
No.
up in the whole butterfly, I love you. I know maybe not the young generation. I can't talk for you ladies, but I can tell you, back in our day, we were just about that fluttery, make me feel good. Oh, he's good looking. Oh, I love him. And then you get to know him, or he gets to know you. We're not man bashing. It can go either way, right? That's why I love the legacy piece, that, and I definitely would Leonora can back me up on that. I think one of the top three conversations you should have is, do you want to have children? You should have a financial conversation with whoever you decide to be
Mhm.
with, because those are the top things that can cause a divorce. Like, how do you want to live your life? Where do you want to live? But finance is huge. I mean, finance is like what, the first or the second that cause a divorce, right, Leonora? I
Mhm.
mean,
Absolutely.
Your
Yeah.
financial problems,
that
yeah.
financial problem, and then it's the spiritual, emotional, that emotional financial support is huge when you're picking a partner.
Yeah, I mean, it is critical. It is an important choice. I just saw something the other day. Someone shared, and I've heard this. Like, don't take. Well, there's this saying that I heard when I first got separated. It was like, next time, it's like real estate, and of course, it had to be a real estate analogy, right? When you buy your first home, you're not paying attention to the details, right? You just want to
Right.
get
Oh
your
my
first home.
goodness.
You're not looking at the plumbing, you're not looking at the electric, you're not looking at, you're not, you're okay with dealing with maybe it's a fixer upper, right? You're just kind of like, I just want my first home, right? Um, then when that one's over with and you're getting your second home, now you're like, nah, I want it to look like this. I want this layout. I want this. I want that. Like now you're very specific,
You're right.
right?
You're
Yeah.
right. That's a great analogy, Jennifer. Somebody said your communication style. Amen. Amen. Whoever said that, I don't know what it is, but
Like,
amen.
But you know what, Jennifer, what you just said is so interesting because
Yes.
talking about relationships, I've been, not that I'm proud of it, but it is what it is. I've been married and divorced twice, a very long time to each one of my partners. And I'm very happy with my current partner. But the thing is, you go through these experiences. It's like one is going to prepare you for the next one and then the next one, right? So when you get to the stage where I am now, you're going to, for sure, just like the analogy you just used, I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to have that. I'm definitely going to want this, right? You're very specific as to what you want in the relationship. Now, imagine if you were to do that the first time around, how
Wow.
happy we would be for many, many years, but we don't do that. Like you
Right.
said, Kim, we're just so enamored with the idea of being in love and, the hand holding and all of the, romantic stuff, which is great. But we don't talk about the very, very core issues that the couple is going to face, the financials, the trust issue. Those are two huge, huge ones, right? I was coaching, I'm sorry, I was doing an assessment with a couple not too long ago, and I was so impressed with how they've been married out for 4 or 5 years. This is the first very young couple. She's in her late 20s and he's 30 something. They were so organized with their finances, had a budget
Mm,
for everything. They knew what they want to do. They, like, okay, I'm going to put away money for this and I'm going to do that. I'm like, wow, for their age, for them to have this. And I said, I have to stop with this process and say, how did you get to this place? And what they said was, even when we were dating, we were talking about these things. We were talking about the fact that she had student loans and he didn't. So how are we going to handle that? How are we going to, to
wow.
manage our finances going forward? Are we going to buy an expensive car or just like a beater to get us around? I mean, all of those conversations and so crucial. But we don't have those because I don't
Yeah.
know why. We just don't. We get so like a blindfold. We get so enamored with everything else more superficial than the actual root, what do you call it, what's really gonna be the pillars of a solid relationship. And
yeah.
we have to talk about that. We have to have a list of things that are crucial. You mentioned the trust issue. Of course, for me, it's always been, if there's a breach in that trust, forget it. No matter how much that person says, I'm sorry, it's not going to work ever again. And of course, the financial piece of it, because finances, as you mentioned, are like the number two or number one reason for somebody to break up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really important issues to deal with. Can I just jump back to legacy? When you first brought up legacy, Jen, I thought about the lifeline, right? The first thing that came into my mind was my grandmother. She
Mm,
left a legacy. So my grandmother, just to give you a little bit of background, passed away about 7 years ago, but she lived to be 107 years old.
Oh wow.
Wonderful genes. She was like, bien derechita, like really sitting up very straight, never have to use help to even use the facilities or eat anything. I mean, she was like so her mind was so sharp up until the last couple of months. But when I thought about her, I'm like, oh my God, you know what? We have her legacy. What is that? What is it? Wasn't finances. It was all of those core values that she instilled in my mother, and my mother instilled in me. I had
Mm.
the pleasure, the honor actually, to be raised by my grandmother. When my mom came to the States and I was 5, my grandmother kind of took over as a mom. She was my second mom. So I picked up a lot of her teachings, a lot of her sayings, her cooking, a lot of that. And that in itself is a legacy, right? Because I'm passing that on to my own kids now. My mom did what she could because she was a single mom doing it all with 4 kids, and we just talked about how difficult that is, and sometimes even working 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. So she also left that legacy. What work ethic, being honest, being truthful to yourself. Of course, we didn't have the best choices because she was also married to somebody who, well, my dad, things didn't work out, so she did it on her own. But those are the kind of things that you pick up: the resiliency, the persistence, the perseverance, and of course, as I mentioned, those values that you carried from your grandmother to your mother to now me, and now it's my responsibility, my job to pass that on to my daughter. Um, Yesterday, I was with some friends, and it's a little bit more personal, but wanted to share when my mom passed away. It was like devastating. Till this day, I have a very difficult time going to church. My mom was very religious, always going to church every Sunday. She would be with me every Sunday, and we would go to church. And it was at the time when you kneel down and the adoration part of the mass. It was something special about that moment being there with my mom. So now that I don't have her, oh my God, it's like an automatic, turning the faucet on, I start crying, and I'm like, I can't deal with it. So I was telling my friend, I just stopped going to church because of that. And she said to me, don't get mad at me, but you know what? That was your mom's legacy for you. That was something that she really valued and that you should continue to do. And she's right. But it's hard sometimes to carry on with those legacy responsibilities, I'll call them, because it's hard. But it is something that I need to continue to carry on to through my daughter and now to my grandkids. My youngest granddaughter is now going to I forget, is it catechism when you go and get prepared for first communion?
Yeah.
She doesn't
Yeah.
have grandma there to back her up with all of these things that I learned from mom and from grandma. Then what kind of job am I doing with my legacy, right? In that regard. So
Yeah.
that's what I thought about when we were talking about legacy, and of course, financial legacy as well.
Yeah, I love the idea of like passing something down, right? And we're always talking, and you see this all, and I could correlate this to like breaking generational curses, making different decisions for your children, setting the example, right? Like, um, and I want to talk about this movie so bad right now, the Million Mile Away movie, because it still talks about legacy a million miles away. If no one's ever seen that movie, I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's about his name's Jose Hernandez, right? The first migrant worker that goes to space,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually really cool because his family were all migrant workers. They all picked the fruit that people eat, right? Fruit and vegetables and all that stuff. And he had to, he took all these lessons that he learned from his family as the migrant worker and applied it to becoming an astronaut,
Mm-hmm.
and you see him go through this like um he had to become an astronaut because he just said he didn't want to fail his parents because his parents, they sacrificed for him, and he didn't want to fail his wife and his kids. And it's such a great movie, so just wanted to throw that in there as like a little side note. But we're all, what is the legacy that we're leaving behind to our children, and what are we taking from our parents and passing it down? I think that's a critical conversation.
It is, and you know what, Jen? It's a huge responsibility. I'm the only one in the family, for instance, that went to college, graduated from college, had a professional career, well-paying career back in the day, and that in itself is leadership, and it carries a huge responsibility because you're not just leaving that example, leaving by example rather, but carrying that to to the workplace, because you also have to, like I said earlier, kind of break through barriers and set an example and say, si se puede, regardless of what your background is, you can do this. It just takes resilience, persistency, and of course, got to be smart and got to be open minded and do all those wonderful things. But you have that on your shoulders, and it's huge. I don't want to discount that, because every single one of us who have been in leadership roles, whether it be with family or in the workplace, it's a something that you can't just like say, okay, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to stop doing whatever it is that I was doing. You can't. You have that for life, and at least that's how I feel. I cannot stop right now in my young age right now and say, you know what, I'm done. I got to stop doing what I'm doing. You can't. As long as I live, I need to carry on with that legacy, with that teaching, with that example more than anything. Not only for myself, because then I wouldn't be true to myself, but also for my daughter who counts on me, and for my grandkids that see me as a role model, or for my nephews or whomever it is. It's a responsibility, but just want to make sure that we all um, kind of give credit to that role, because it's huge. And without us being very persistent, I guess, and really just sticking with it. Imagine what would happen if, one day each of us says, you know what, I'm not going to continue to do this. I'm not going to, do that. And our generations, future generations would suffer. What would become of us, right? As a race. So just wanted to bring that up, that it is a huge responsibility to carry forward.
I could see that. And I apologize if you guys hear my elderly cat. My kids are not bothering me. It's my cat, but
About to say.
she's
Your
just
kid, just
meowing a
admit it,
storm.
it's your kid.
She is a kid, right?
Yes.
A 19-year-old kid, not a 19-year-old kid. Um, Kim, do you have anything to share or chime
Oh,
in?
no, I just love what you're saying, Leonor, that you as that you don't give up. And then I love that you're taking that you're saying I have to be responsible for taking that legacy. And I like that you shared the story about going to church, because that was something you share with your mom. Sometimes we let go of something because it hurts, but it's something that keeps the legacy alive at the
Mhm.
same time,
Yep.
right? For me, it's going to a cemetery. The last time I went to a cemetery, I was 17 years old, and my mom passed away. My
Mhm.
adopted mom passed away, and it took me until dating Mark to go to the cemetery where my parents that adopted me were buried, and that's was like almost 40 years later. But once I did it, I broke down and cried so much. And then now I go and I talk to them, but I talk to them every day anyway. I talk to them anywhere I'm at. But just even getting over that I didn't realize how heavy that was on my heart until I went there. Right. And then I realized, oh wow, I had to let that go for me, and it's okay. And
Mhm.
so just thank you for sharing. I just loved everything you said about legacy and sharing your story with your grandma and your mom. It's
Thank
it's
you.
just it's inspiring. Somebody needs to hear that. And there were things that you said that definitely touched me that I need to hear.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Kim.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I like
Yeah.
how you add responsibility, right? That
Hmm.
there's a responsibility in the legacy that you create. And I mean, and I don't know how many of our viewers are big on creating a legacy or passing down a legacy, but like you said, even the way that you carry yourself, the way you handle business, the way that you handle a household, you might not notice it, but your kids are paying attention. They're watching to how you handle that, and they're picking up. This is how someone said, like communication style. Like they're picking up communication
Yeah.
style.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
You know, and it's something that's interesting. Like I'm trying to think of like, well, what is it that I picked up from my parents, right? And it's a responsibility like to pass down to my kids. Like for me, I'm trying to think. I don't think it was ever like taught, but I know like entrepreneurship runs on my family. Like entrepreneurship is a big thing in, especially like on both sides. Like my dad's side, they were big on growing agave and that's what they
Mhm.
did, and they would sell. I mean, my dad right now has like land and he sells it, and big companies of tequila come and buy the agave plants, and he has his thing over there on the side. My mom's family, I didn't know that we were known as a birria family in our town of Mexico. Like,
Nice.
like that was what my grandma would make, and she would sell to all the townspeople, and like, and I'm sitting there like, really? We're like the birria family out there, But I didn't realize like, oh, this is something that's being passed down to me as an entrepreneur, right? That entrepreneur mindset, because entrepreneurs are not normal people. I'm just saying. And you guys are laughing, but we all know like we're a little bit on the edge over there. Like we do it.
Really?
We make decisions that not everyone will make, right? And people that
Yeah.
are like they're comfortable with nothing's wrong with the 9 to 5, but when they hear us, they're like, What do you want to do?" Right? Um, like my ex couldn't comprehend some of the ideas that I would share. It was just like, nah, I just want to like come home and just hang out. Like I don't want to do all of this stuff that you're talking about, but it's okay. Like that's
We're all
that's
different.
we're all different, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And you're gonna be sorry you said that about your family. We're gonna expect you to make us birria now.
oh my God, no. Like I cannot live up. So I've asked my mom, she showed me the recipe like 4 times. So I could make it, but like it's not like my mom's, it's not at all.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
We have right here, Jaya, she said, beautiful conversation and something everyone should analyze about themselves. I agree. Thank you for sharing. We have Mayra, thank you. This Facebook user, I don't know who it is, but they wrote, I can relate with Kim. I don't visit the cemetery.
Oh.
Um, Someone here said, "Great movie." Jose never gave up. That's true. Jose never gave up. He really didn't. Someone else were here. Oh, I guess this is a two-part question. What's your assignment that God has given you? And these are the questions that I ask. These are my questions that I share with my single friends, which I think it's a critical thing. Like if you're gonna, pick a partner, does it correlate both of your plans for your lives together? So I could see that. I'm assuming that's why she wrote that, and I'm assuming that's Delilah that wrote that. But I might be wrong, so forgive me if if it's not Delilah. So Leonor, what is it? What do you have any promotions that you want to share with the viewers of what you have going on right now as we wrap up the show today?
It's not so much a promotion, Jen. It's really what I've been experiencing in the last couple of years working with families in our community is prepare for yourselves financially earlier in life. I cannot tell you. I mean, just every single day I run into people. And last night, for instance, I was at a friend's house, and this gentleman was talking about his finances. He's in his late 50s, maybe another 10 years before retirement. And he now starts to think about the fact that I want to be able to, invest and get income so that I can, buy another house and do this, which is awesome to do all that and to have those dreams. But 10 years before retirement, to do that and build retirement wealth to last you for another, I don't know, 20, 30 years, depending on life expectancy, it's a little bit unrealistic. And it just, it hurts my heart when I hear things like that because this person started saving, looking into ways that they can manage their funds differently, or maybe not investing so much in this thing, but maybe more smartly in something else, they would be so much better off. And then, of course, there's the gentleman who's at 65 retiring with just a small amount in the retirement fund because they thought that the employer was actually taking care of it and growing it. And, in some instances, the person hears 401k or retirement and they think they're well off, that they're set for life, and that's not the case. So my promotion, my ask, my wish for everybody is to please start looking into your finances early enough. And if you have kids, grandkids, please do something for them. Leave that legacy that you are gonna be informed of what's out there, what are the options, where they can invest, and start early. I mean, I cannot stress that enough. Start early and start with someone who knows and someone who you trust, because that's the other factor that comes in into the finance world. There's a lot of people out there, they don't do whatever it takes to get ahead in life because they don't have anyone they can trust. And that's huge in our community. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about the fact that they have all these thousands and thousands of dollars in the bank where it's not working for them. They're working for the bank, basically. So I would urge everybody to start looking at places. Someone like me, I'm more than happy to work with you to actually help you through those challenges, through the questions that might be a little bit embarrassing, because that's the other thing that I've heard, that they're embarrassed at their later years in time to bring up these questions because they should have done this years ago. Well, the should have, would have, doesn't do us any good. We can start now, but my point is just start early.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing, Leonor. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, where do they go or how can they find you?
Well, I can give you my, can I type in my phone number, my email? I mean, the best way that they can reach me is via phone.
Okay.
And also my professional email, leonor.gil@tfaconnect.com.
Okay. Is it what, one G or one L or two L's?
It's only one L, yes. So leonor.gil@tfaconnect.com. That's my my register rep, correct. That's my register rep email, and I can help anyone with just about anything. I'm very blessed to not only have my insurance license, but also securities licenses, which allows me to touch both sides of the spectrum, anything insurance related and anything investment related.
Beautiful. Okay, perfect. So anyone that wants to reach out to her, talk more with about your finances to her, please feel free to reach out to her. And Kim, do you have any final words to share today before we
I
wrap up?
Sure. I just want to thank Leonora again for coming on. I had someone else who couldn't do it today, and she stepped up last minute. So I appreciate that. And you were an amazing guest. And thank you for all your amazing tidbits to help us stay on track.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kim, for the invite. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you, ladies.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always good conversation. And then I hope everyone that was watching enjoyed the conversation as well. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Leonor. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for all the viewers or the if you're watching the replay. We appreciate you guys. And then of course have an amazing rest of your week or the start of your week. All right. God bless. Bye bye.
Bye.
Everybody, thank you.